Which is your, I think the check from my laptop. So which is your yeah, and then you can control it. So, yeah.
Copy. So, welcome.
Oh, it's my. That's not much. It says join audio, so I'm like, okay, not. So I need to share my screen or? Okay, yeah.
Thank you so much, Jay. The corner here, so we have places here and also profile.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, good afternoon. My name is Janika Ayani. I'm the Enterprise Network Coordinator here in Nigeria. So, I'd like to welcome you all to join here and online on behalf of Manchester University, Q Energy, our chamber, and Enterprise Europe Network. So, what is going to happen today? So, Professor Bamidele Adebisi and Kevin Matthew will give a short presentation. After that, there is a Q&A session. So we will have some questions from the online audience and from you. And basically after that, networking and have some refreshment here. So thank you again very much for joining us today. And I think I will take the floor to you. Yes.
Great. Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. Very, very nice to have you here. Thank you for taking out time out of your busy schedule. So what we try to do this afternoon, well, let me do Nigeria. We all protocolly observe, welcome, and all just as the protocol of the observers. So because I just did one yesterday, and we had to go through the chairman and the list of many other things. So this afternoon we'll just talk briefly about what we're trying to do in terms of what I'll be talking about later, peer-to-peer live streaming. But before we talk about peer-to-peer energy trade, we want to talk about energy generally, some of the activities that we'll be involving, both nationally within the UK, within Europe and across the world. Just to talk about area of expertise, what we're currently doing, what we've done before, and what the future looks like. And the whole essence of this is that so that you can see how you, your companies, or people that you know may fit into this. And as with the world, when we talk about smartness, smart cities, smart communities, it evolves, right? Because it's driven by human needs. Because it's driven by human needs, then human needs will always change. Hence, the whole concept of smartness changes as change our desires and aspirations. So, are we, as I've been introduced, I'm Professor Bamidele Akinse. I'm a professor in intelligent infrastructure systems. As you see across the board when I present that, I'm not a professor of engineering or electrical communication systems or whatever. I work in the field where I work with people and we basically use intelligence systems to connect assets, infrastructure, whatever that could be. Any assets or infrastructure that is done, we make them smart. That's what we're doing now too. So at least this group of people at Manchester Met, we have about 25 to 35, depending on senior academics or senior lecturers and professors, and I have about 30 to 40 sometimes PhD postdocs that are working on various projects. So we have three core thematic areas. The first one is smart energy systems. Then the second one is connectivity, which is about using Internet of Things, 5G signal processing, data analytics, or whatever. And then the third group of people, they are simulators, people who use mathematical digital twin to create a twin replica of a physical asset. So, an example of that is if you want to know how this building will behave, if you want to test what will happen, if there's fire hazard of this building, how long it's going to take people to go out. So you can just test one room, use real human, do a test, and so on, and then you create a software version of those human being and video. That's that you cannot perform with people because you don't want to die. You can create a software version of that and do whatever you could do with people. So that's digital tool. Management, in music, in energy, anything. Particularly in cybersecurity, where, for example, you can preemptively think about what is going to happen in the future in terms of cybersecurity, or if it happens to somebody else in a different country, you can basically ask your software, if this happens to us, what are the implications, and what are the things that we can do to address that. So we apply this in the area of smart cities, in smart water management, intelligent transport, and in what is known as Industry 4.0, which is the fourth industrial revolution. So what is unique about our group is that the fact that we are not just academics that publish papers and create all these metrics in terms of track record, when we apply our work in real life environment. Specifically, we are known all over the UK, for example, as in 2002, I do a top 5 in UK when it comes to knowledge transfer partnership projects. So many of these projects, I have led about 16 of these, as a team. Many universities, that's what one university they have. So just name my team, play 16 of that in the past 4 or 5 years. Some of this work we have led to first to market disruptive technologies, we've driven growth, created many jobs, and so on and so forth. Example is this one. I met this gentleman Paul about 6 years ago. He saw my profile as working in smart metering, but I think he got it wrong. I was working on smart metering for electricity, not water. But then engaged me after the discussion. I was going to say, well, I'm into electricity, but I just thought there's no difference. It's just addressing societal challenge. Hence, we transform this. Yeah, that was all right. So, Okay, so we kind of transform this pipe. So it's called standpipe. So in the UK, I don't know how it operates here, but if you have to clean the streets or wash windows of tall buildings or you want to construct a new site, you don't just go underground, tap water, and do it for free. You have to actually rent a pipe that's called standpipe from the government, and that's what you use in a hydrant to get water from the ground. And of course, when you use that, they charge you through a mechanical standpipe, which is inside this device. So what we did with him was to transform this mechanical device into a smart one. So it's not just about how much water you use, but who is using it at what time, what location. And then we were able to also install several sensors of this. So it tells us the quality of the water, the pressure under the water. And we apply artificial intelligence, because over 50,000 people rent this at a particular point in time across the UK. So we can actually cross-correlate what is going on around the city to know the pressure with the water, to identify leakages with the water, and so on and so forth. That project won the best project of the year, knowledge transfer of the year 2020. So in the enabling city infrastructure, key things. So when people ask me, so what does it mean to be intelligent? First of all, intelligent system, what does that mean? Or what does it mean for something to be smart? So just to define that, it's very simple, straightforward. Smart, something to be smart, those are two things. One is that you acquire data. Okay, this room, how hot, how cold it is. So you do that by acquiring data from assets. And the next is, usually because you want multiple of this data, you can't analyze it at that point. You have to take it to a particular server. So you need communication system. So there's connectivity, sensor, sensing, connectivity. And then when you get to the platform where you store that, remember, what we now have is information. It's hot. That's an information. That information is useless until you kind of cross-correlate it with many other information, like it is hot because the door is not open, the AC is not on, or something like that. And remember, you get data from each of these various infrastructure or assets, all of them on the same platform. And then you perform data analytic on it, which is now kind of more than information, all right? It's turned into wisdom because you now know why. When you close the circuit by doing something, actuation, intervention, all right, now we know this is the reason why this is hot. Then AC should turn on so that everybody can be happy. That is full smartness. Anything that intelligent should be able to do that. Identify problem, analyze it, look at it in the context of the environment, make decision, and make cause an action to happen. And so in smart city, that is what we do. It's all about identifying societal challenge, specific one, sometimes multiple challenges, and they use smart solutions to address them. So we have a unique opportunity as a university because we are based on, so the picture you find here is the map of the street called Oxford Road. That's where my university is. So you have the University of Manchester, you have Manchester University on the same road, Oxford Road. So which means we have the highest number of students. Also, because of the same road, across the whole of youth, you have the highest number of students, on that road. So on the same road, we have Royal College of Music. At the very tail end of this, we have the largest hospital, and at the other end of it, the biggest library and the city council, where they measure and everybody. That's where they stay. Why is that important? Well, it's important because then we can play a bit of a game in that small corridor. So we can ensure that small corridor is kind of smart. We can then replicate that across the world. You can't spend enough money to make the whole of Manchester smart, but we can try smartness in a specific area, and this is very good data because again, because it's related to university, we can then use that to carry out research and optimize what we do. So that is how we started. In 2016, we won this first grant, 10 million. It's actually 16 million, but 10 million from the government, 6 million from partners. Cisco led the council and we worked with BT, Siemens, and the rest of the universities were involved. What did we do? We connected various things from smart bikes to trams to buildings and so on. And we created a platform where data from all these go into and students play around with. What are the business that we can take out of this, air quality, and the rest. We completed that for 2 years. Then we were awarded this 29 million euro by the European Commission, again on the same road, So what we did was to then look at electric vehicles, look at optimization of building, look at solar panel, biomass, and combine heat and power. And then we created Siemens, working with Siemens, we created a platform called Central Controller that is able to turn things up and down. For example, my university, the building that we use as one of the trials. So you in the past, you wake up in the morning, turn the heat, central heating on, because people were around at 8 o'clock, so it makes sense to start heating it up, warming everywhere up at 6 o'clock. And then everybody's happy and they've done it for years. With this central controller, what happened was that he was able to optimize it. Is it exactly 6 by 6? So we changed it to 6:15. And for that 15 minutes, maybe we save several thousands of pounds per month. We changed it to 6:30. And they begin to look at the comfort level of people. Are people complaining? Are they putting their jackets on? Nobody. Okay? And you are saving thousands. Until it gets to a point, you change it to like 45 minutes, and people are kind of putting their clothes on. We're getting too far now. Take it back. So that's the kind of example of the optimization that we're talking about. Against like the library system or the booking of rooms, we know based on the number of people in the room, the sensor that tells us the number of people, you know when to turn the AC on and what type of AC. You are reducing energy. So if we optimize building electric, what my first electric vehicle, the Sun Leaf, about 5 years ago. Today we have about 16, 18 actually, now, which we use for various research, and our nursing students kind of use that to visit clients. So this is a living lab. Living lab in the sense that this is one of the sites that we use for trials. It's not changing at the same rate. Okay, all right. So that's the living lab. You see at the middle here. So this is like one of our campuses. It's like a 4-year-old around that. So we have student halls of residents all around it. Okay, and in the middle we have the faculty there. So we install about 175 kilowatt hour battery of PV on the roof based on the project that I mentioned earlier. Then somewhere here we have energy sector where we install this battery. The battery is about 490 kilowatt hour. It's as big as like a container, a small container. And we have in that same energy center, we have combined heat and power. We have electric vehicles, charging points, and so on. Actually, the aim is that we can remove the whole of this, okay, completely from the grid using battery electric vehicle, combined heat and power, that generate the PV that generates, and the aim is also to be able to sell back to the grid. That project will invest publicly energy project of the year in 2018. So that was Siemens and us working together. And then, we created this platform, like I said earlier, all the data that you acquire from various assets, they all come to the data. This is coming now, and I'm going to be rounding up to what we are here for today. So myself and a group of academics, we were privileged to be awarded this money a couple of years ago, and that is to create the Uber of energy, peer-to-peer energy trading. How can I sell energy to my neighbor? I don't have to go through NEPA or GENCO or whatever it's called, but I sell directly. If I'm on holiday and I have solar panel on my roof, can I dash it to somebody? My neighbor, can I give it to my mosque or church down the road for free? Can I sell it? So if I have generator, for example, we ought to have the one generator when someone's generator can power like 3 of their houses. So it's that concept of not having to rely. So within a community, you generate energy. And in addition to this, the advantages of this also include the fact that actually there's a lot of losses associated with generating long distance. Okay, and you know what you do. Not agile, you transport it to far distance. And there's something, attenuation is a function of distance. You lose a lot in the course of that. Generate locally, you can isolate problems and then manage it. So that's what we do. So we work with the likes of, so it was the 4 of us, Imperial College, University of Bath, Oxford University, myself, were awarded £1 million to do that, to look at that monitoring. And the government of South Korea awarded these 5 other organizations, some of the 2 of them businesses, but 3 universities, to also work with us. So we did that for about 3.5 years. Usually for projects like this, we do it and we do very well and we publish paper, which is what I do for a living, and go around talking the way I'm doing it now, and everybody's happy and we have coffee after. Yeah. But I would say our team, we're kind of very privileged. Don't worry about this. You don't need to know about them. It's just the algorithm that we develop that makes everything well, makes the platform very intelligent, makes our paper to be accepted in top of the top journal, which gives us track record, which gives us confidence to go out and say, look, we know this, we are one of the best in the world to do this. Okay. Sorry, academics, we have to do this, otherwise we won't go. Yeah. So I have to tell you what we're doing. So this is the platform, for example. So one of my team, which actually happens to be a Nigerian, a lady, I employed her when I started the project. She finished her PhD. She's she's my postdoc. She's in the world now. So she's one of the best in this field. I think my PhD here. She did her PhD. She finished. She's still with me now for the past 2 years, even after her PhD. So she developed this platform with another Nigerian, interestingly, Yakubu Sato, and some other people. So we have a platform that can tell you where, okay, so if there are 10 buildings, it can calculate based on distance, how much this person should charge, how you match the right consumer. Consumer is somebody who generates and consumes energy at the same time. How you do the matching. We have to do all algorithms. But the good thing is that as soon as we were finishing the rounding that up, we got this grant DFID, and this is where Cube Energy comes in. So we got a grant from DFID to provide energy access in Africa, anywhere. It happened to be Nigeria. So teaming up with them was very easy, and we got another company in Abuja. We teamed together to kind of take this innovation of peer-to-peer energy trading, which we understand, how can we take that to market? Part of our work was to give access to underserved people. That was what the requirement of the project is. And I'm sure that it has to be green as possible, and there's the climate change environment, and so on. So we selected a school in Kuje area of Abuja. That school, we installed solar panels for the school. And then we have communities, about 200 billion, community of 300. We selected 3 because that's how much we could afford. And we installed a few solar panels, good enough, so we had to retrofit and do some tricks there, and batteries. Now, what is the aim? The aim is that we assume in the afternoon that everyone in the local community will go to work, to a farm, and so on. And the school can just tap into their batteries, tap into their PV, and reduce the use of generator, right? Diesel generator, or use a lower version of that capacity, lower capacity. Okay, in the evening, the school is shut down, and the lower capacity to basically begin to send the solar panel there and the battery to the community. So we did that over the past 2 years. COVID kind of slowed things down, but thankfully we're able to finish. For the past 3 months, this community, they've been having 100%, like no power cut or grain for the past 3 months. We were there yesterday to launch this, so you can read it in the news, and Sun newspaper and TVC was there last week. So we launched this yesterday. The school also, the hall where we use this, everything in the hall powered by PV, 100%. They completely disconnected from the grid. And this is a trial. That's what it's about. It's only £600,000 to make this happen. So let me show you a few pictures. So that's the school and the village around this. So this woman, for example, part of our CSR, we bought her DC freezer, which connects directly to PV, and she's using that for the whole community. So this is a platform that's developed a partnership with Pure Energy that tells you who is using what. All these are metered. I think we should do that later. And at university level, we then talked about scale up. So someone asked me a question, well, these are only 10 buildings and there's only one. If you have 500, if you have in an estate where you have 100 buildings, how can you, do this peer-to-peer trading and sharing? So we created a replica of what we have in Kuje, in Abuja. We have kind of a small version of that in my lab in Manchester. And then we installed that on the 7th floor of our lab. We have all the inverters and the battery and so on, of lower capacity. And we use that to kind of create what I was speaking about earlier on digital twin, a software replica of physical assets. so that you can query this digital twin as to 500 million, what is the return on investment, what is X, what is Y. I mean, this project was not meant to do that fully, but we saw that as an opportunity, something that we can work on. And that's something we are carrying on doing as part of the post project, even though the project has kind of completed. So this is some of the, okay, you might not see this, but you see a graph coming up now, which kind of gives you how to use the battery, when to sell, the best time to buy, and so on. And then you can begin to do something called gamification. The whole concept of gamification is that you can run an algorithm that will make people, incentivize people to buy energy at a particular point in time. So people that don't want to wash their clothes, or they have things they want to do, but it's not time critical. Okay, so you can advertise to them. They will know that energy is like 10%, 50% discount now because there's too much energy out there. Anything that you want to do, that's not you can do it. And you can also discourage people from using energy because maybe the school needs energy critically at a particular point in time. You can actually say to people, well, look, if you shut your system down now up to 30% capacity or whatever percent capacity, we will give you energy for free, and so when you have mobile, T-Mobile, and sorry, Airtel, and the rest, what they are doing with us now in terms of bundles, we begin to do it with energy because everything is connected, everything is smart. I will leave you with this story, it's around it. Electric vehicles is the future. There's nothing to know about that, and the reason is very simple. Tesla has 90 kilowatt energy. That's the capacity of this Tesla. That one. The average household in the UK is about 9 kilowatt hours. So which means one Tesla can power 9 houses. In my house, my neighbor, actually, just the street, I have 3 people that own Tesla right now. In the past, it used to be like lots. Now everybody is almost common. So which means if you have 3, if you have 30 people on the street, 3 cars is all you need before. This is 2021. Imagine what will happen in 2025, 2030, you have Tesla or another car that has capacity that is 10 times this, and you only need 1 or 2 on the street, and it can power everything else. So can you charge during the day, right? This is solar panel, and then when you come back in the night, you basically use your car to make money because you are selling the car to people in the neighborhood. Graphene is coming, it's here. Car body will be painted with graphene, and you'll be able to use that to generate electricity to power the battery. And because cars are parked about like something percent of the time anyway, right? You travel, you leave your car small. In the future, you won't be buying cars because you want for mobility. Car will be bought or purchased because of the battery, because that's the business model. We are working with that. And so part of our research for the future is to see how we can look at various sources of various cars and their behavior from taxis, which is on the road, and some of your cars that are parked like 90% of the time. How do we bring all this together to create new business model and change the behavior of people? For example, so that you don't buy the car because it's posh. You buy the car because it's known as car arbitrage. So that you can buy energy when it is cheap, like you have it stocked, and sell it when it is expensive. This is my last slide. The future of this also is that create value. Okay, by creating that means with various sources of energy. It doesn't have to just be solar panel. It could be biomass. There's something called hydrogen. I don't know if you're aware of that. It's going to be very big. It started already. So how do you bring all this together with wind and swan, and you create value? Okay, so that in my house, when I generate electricity, I know it's not for my consumption alone, because maybe I only need 10% of that, but because I see business model, I see market within my neighborhood or around, I sell it to the grid. And by the way, I may decide not to collect it. Maybe it's my stock, my share, my pension for the future. So the excess energy that I generate as one goes into this platform. It becomes a value for me, not money to me, but something that I can cash in whenever I like. Not the monetary value to something else. It could be insurance for my car, for my life insurance, and so on. It could be pension. It could be to pay my school tuition, school fees, and so on and so forth. So what we have created here is, if you like, Uber for energy or Airbnb for energy, Amazon for energy, whatever, something that is at the middle that creates value for everyone. Everybody can be part of it at small scale, large scale, and at no scale at all. You could be somebody that just watching, consuming, but you pay. You could be somebody who is generating the pay to you, and so on and so on. So thank you.
Hi everyone, this is Jeff and Matthew representing Q Energy, which is based in Manchester, United Kingdom. I am the project manager of a project that we did in Kuje, and also the partnership manager of the company. It's an honor to be in front of you and to speak on the company's behalf and tell you all about what we have been doing for the last 2 years. This project has been going on for 2 years, and I would like to share my exciting story about my journey with the Nigerian community. So thank you, Delhi, for going in detail about smart energy tech. So now I would like to give you the details about the project, what we have done, and the benefits we have given to the community and the schools that took part. So through my slides, I would like to go over the following in a very brief manner. So I think there's a delay. Yeah. So the first one, how did this project come out? What was the root cause of the project? And the second one, what is this local energy market? Yes, Delhi went directly in detail. I will just give 2 minutes on that, and what our platform that we have developed through this project, which is the NICE platform. So NICE is the name that we have given to the project because the project name was Nigeria Intelligent Clean Energy Marketplace. So we just took all the initials and NICE. So I felt it was a good name as well, NICE Energy. And why do we need a NICE platform and the benefits of it? Also, what were the outcomes, the trial participants, the benefits they have received through the project, and how can we take this further and implement this throughout Nigeria? So the UK-Nigeria collaboration. So Delhi mentioned, Professor Mohammed Delhi mentioned that this started off as a UK government initiative, which is DFID, Department for International Development, and it was under the banner Innovate UK, where UK government invested about £10 million into such UK African innovation smart energy projects. So basically, it was to work with the Nigerian companies to improve the existing infrastructure, provide a reliable, low-cost, greener energy and smarter energy. So from that 10 million, Q Energy won £650,000, and we partnered with Manchester Metropolitan University, and Delhi was the lead. And Via Energy, which is a renewable company which is based in Abuja, so they were our ground partner. And all three of us were trialing and want to deliver this innovative smart energy platform to the Nigerian communities. So moving forward, so what is this platform? What is this smart energy grid that we have developed? So mini grid, smart mini grid, or like call it as a NICE platform, that in short. So it's like a smart, I would say, virtual power plant, not a normal traditional power plant, but a virtual power plant where through our platforms, what we have done is we are connecting a large customer. So in our test case, it was a school, Capital Science Academy, such a massive school, boarding school, and they have students living there with every student having AC in their room. So they have that much of a consumption, and they can't let the power go down any minute. So they are powered by the grid as well as polluting diesel generators. So the best thing about that was there was a community just across the school. So what we've done is connecting a large customer school to a smaller houses. We are able to trade energy in between. So the community cannot afford such infrastructure. If they can't invest, the school can invest, and then school will sell it to this community of houses, and community will pay them for the energy that they've been using. Because it's metered, so we are knowing how much each households are. I'll just go in detail about that. So what they're getting out of it is at least 25% cheaper energy, reliable 24/7. Through this project, all the participants receive 24/7 energy, and because of that, school wants to make the whole campus under renewables. They want to take out the diesel and be under this system. And the school is also able to generate an income, like I said, any excess that's being given to the community, so they're being paid, and they're able to make a return on investment. They are investing more solar assets, battery assets, in our technology. And I've mentioned it's a low-cost virtual power plant. So it's being done using our Qbox, which is where we have installed the AI algorithm software in it. And we have installed smart meters. I'll go over it as well. Solar and battery storage. And we have an application as well where you can track what's your daily real-time usage, what's your monthly bill going to be like, and how much income have you generated from the household so far. So these are some of the features that we're offering. Also, to make this happen, we need a Nigerian partner as well. On the ground, someone to design the infrastructure, install it, and operate it. If something goes wrong, if they need to contact someone, so that's where our partner Via came in to help, where we have trials. So moving on to like a okay. So this next one I just want to talk about. Yeah. So this is the school campus. Such a massive campus. So they had problems such as unreliable grid power, explain the polluting, expensive backup, high energy cost because of that, and they want to switch to a greener energy. It has been in their pipeline, but nothing exciting came in front of them to invest. So when we came up with this proposal, they found it really interesting, and they wanted to implement this. And another benefit is awareness. The students, it's a science school, so the students were really keen to know what is being happening. You know, what's the UK collaboration? What's this renewable thing? So certain students are really keen on this, and they want to study more on this. And once they graduate from the school, so we were able to create awareness, not just within the students, also the community. Now they know what is renewables, and they want to take it further. I'll explain that. Also the community. So this is where the school is, and just if you cross the road, you'll have about 300 houses of community. And this is where I said smaller customers. So they have basically, when we did the survey with them, they have 3 days of intermittent power supply in a week, and it's not continuous, obviously. And there's no backup electricity; they cannot afford it. And when we survey, they are billed for unused electricity. They have to pay a standard amount, even though they're not receiving any money. So when we metered it, we found that they pay more than what they're even using for, minuscule, less than 25% they're using. And towards the evening time, because there's no power, there's no less productivity, students can't study, so there were issues with them. So an inconvenient lifestyle. So when we spoke to them, they have to go to their friend's house to charge their mobile phone, laptops, if they have a generator or something like that, and watch TV. So it's just inconvenient lifestyle for them. So moving on. So I would say the case studies that we have, the trialing that we have done here is we have installed about 17.5 kilowatt hour solar. This is the solar installed on the school auditorium, as Delhi explained, and that's the solar panels installed on the community. So we didn't actually install panels on each roof of the house, even though there are 10 houses taking part. We made a standalone energy room so that we can control it and operate it and diagnose it, rather than going to their personal space if there's something wrong. So we made a standalone energy room. In that, we have installed all the assets. Even though it's in one room, it's individually wired. So even though it says 70 kilowatt power and 35 kilowatt battery, so it's a mixture. So 2-3 houses have solar and battery. Remaining are just loads. And the school has solar and battery as well. So it's a mixture of renewable assets. And we have 2 gateways, which I mentioned is a Q box, which is basically the control module. So that we are connecting all these assets to that control module, and our AI algorithm does the magic. So optimizing and providing power when there is a generating asset that's generating power, and checking which provides the cheapest alternative power. And also 11 smart meters, so 1 for the school, 10 for the houses. So which basically gives us real-time information about how much is being used. So what were the benefits I explained? 24/7 clean energy supply, eradicating the use of diesel generator, and cheaper electricity than grid. and also income from solar. These were the benefits. And impact, I've mentioned as well, creating awareness about renewables among the community members as well as the school students, and improving the standard of living. They're just really happy. So it's just good to speak to them. It was really good to speak to them yesterday. So, and massive reduction in carbon emissions. So we need to also look at our planet as well, so, and our future generation. So cutting down on diesel generator is going to improve the carbon emission output, and long-term impact on local economy, because not just the school, the community, when we spoke to them, they want to start new businesses. Their thinking is to that level. If we are guaranteed such a reliable power, I want to start a business here. We will all join and maybe start a business. We want to grow. That's their thinking. It's not a scripted dialogue. We just came out of their heart and their experience. So it was really a good time with them. Sorry when I'm switching the screen, it's just taking time. Yeah. Okay. So these are what's installed. So this is the solar inverter, battery inverters. Over here we have the Q box. There's a picture of that. This is the smart meter. There's another picture of that as well. So this is the school infrastructure. This is the I told you we have an energy cabin we have built on the community. So inside that you can find a smaller version of this, but each of them are individually cabled, wired to houses. So just because the battery is here doesn't mean it's going to all the houses at the same time. Only the house that we have assigned that the battery should go to and the solar power should go to is it's being cabled in such a way. And each house are individually metered here. So now I would like to show you what Q Energy technology is all about and what NICE platform is. So all of this constitutes, I would say, the Q Energy technologies. These are technologies we've implemented in the local community, and all of this together forms a NICE platform. So the first important puzzle is the smart meter. So instead of the traditional meter, if you're not aware of this, instead of traditional meters where at the end of the month, energy companies come and they take readings and go back and calculate. Instead of that, it's working based on SIM cards. So that means is it has 24/7 internet capability where we are able to get an energy reading from the meter of every household, every connected asset on a real-time basis, even on a minute basis. But for the project, we only need 15 minutes to 30 minutes interval. So we are able to get such energy readings from these meters. How this helps theft detection is, so currently, I think at the end of the month, you're getting a bill. Imagine, I know there's theft, energy theft kind of happening in Nigeria. The way to stop this can really help. Because rather than finding out at the end of the month when you get a bill, there's a high usage. Our platform detects any unusual usage. So if something is used more than normal, so when we take the previous usage into account, sorry about that, I think there's an internet problem. Okay, so our platform, like I said, it takes the previous usage into account. So our platform, if it finds that okay, now it's using more than 30% than yesterday, or more than 40% than yesterday, there's something wrong. Obviously, it could be you as well, but we send you alerts telling that it's a due. We can see there's an abnormal usage. Just get it checked. If it's you, just ignore the message. For example, we can give you such alerts with the platform. So that's one major benefit of it. And we can remotely manage as well this smart meter. And the brain of the whole platform is the Q box. So this is where, like I said, we have installed the AI algorithm, and it's doing its matching. Through this, we are doing the energy trading between the community, between the houses, and the renewable assets. So this is what enables. So we connect all the assets into this, and then we operate it from Manchester. So Even though the devices are here, we operate it from Manchester. We make sure everything is running properly. And this dashboard will be provided to manage the whole installation, the whole setup here. That local company will be given access to this dashboard, and they are able to monitor. And we also have a mobile app as well, which customers like One House can download, store there on Play Store and App Store, and you can see the real-time similar, not all the functionalities but yeah, you can still see real-time usage and billing. You don't have to wait for the end of the month to see how much you're gonna pay for it. You can get it from the app itself. So these are some of our technologies. So going towards the end of the slides, I would like to touch upon what's the business model, how it's going to be profitable, how it's going to be running. Oh. Sorry about that. I think there's internet trouble, which is why it's just dropping out. I'll just. So, like I said, in order for this to work, there are three important stakeholders to make this a reality. The first one is the technology provider, the platform provider, which is us, Q Energy. We provide the technology to make this running properly. Bioenergy was the local partner, so it could be any renewable company as well. Anybody who would like to operate it, we're capable of designing the infrastructure, installing and maintaining it. So they are another one of the stakeholder, and finally, investor who is investing in this solar assets. So when it comes to investor, it could be a third party, or it could be the large customer we talked about. It could be the big business parks. It could be the schools. It could be the universities. It could be businesses, massive businesses, building owners. It could be them, or it could be third party investors. So obviously, the way the revenue comes in, Q Energy will be sharing a setup fee just to set up the whole platform, give you the devices, dashboard, everything is included in that, and a very minimal percentage of the energy traded within the system, how much energy is traded, that being shared with the renewable company and Q Energy, and also the investor can make. We are improving their ability on the return on investment with our platform. So we make sure that the system works in such a way that there's a higher return on investment based on the current energy price that's in our platform. So we are trying to reduce it even further. Our aim is to bring it down to 5 years and to even bring it further lower as well. So that's the current model. Okay. So how can we make sure it's profitable? How can we ensure it's profit? So we give all the participants a fixed price. So even though, for example, using a diesel generator is a different price, using a solar inverter, a battery, it's a different cost associated with it because there's an installation cost and there's a running cost. So the platform takes into account all the prices, the grid price, but we make a fixed price based on it. We make a fixed, even though the price is fluctuating. For example, imagine this is the diesel generator time, or when there is no solar, imagine it's just best case scenario. So during that time, the price is very high, but our platform will find a price which is suitable enough so that it's profitable, but at the same time cheaper for people who are using it. So that's given to the school or any large customer as well as the households, whoever is taking part in it. And also, we are able to provide, like I said, an income on any energy that you're selling to the any other households. So that's one way of generating income. So like I said, our platform just optimizes using the price. So it can be the grid power has a different price, solar has a different price, battery has a different price. So based on all that, our platform optimizes and make sure this system is running profitably and not going to give us a loss. And the income is shared between investor via the renewable company as well as ourselves. Right. So I think I'm done. So again, the nice platform is just what it does is it matches demand and supply. So that's what it all does, and it optimizes it. So we don't have to do anything. So once it's installed, nobody has to be constantly doing anything. It's all automated. It's all artificial intelligence. So it's going to be only improving if once we install it. It's only going to the performance only going to improve. It's not going to degrade. So because of AI always learns what's happening. So and then once it learns, it improves itself and delivers more and more savings, not lower and lower. So that's how we ensure it. And we have few ways of taking it to the market. So the commercial opportunities. The first one is the current model which I described. So obviously we need to discuss, because currently there is a limit on that. If it's less than 100, it has to be less than 100 kilowatts if we are distributing energy. So we need to work with discuss on that. Also, this is what the model we have discussed about. So I don't think I need to go in detail, where setting up the local network with solar and battery assets, and these three are the stakeholders involved: tech provider, local partner, and investor. There's another model where it's a franchisee model. Instead of setting up our own local infrastructure, cabling, we can, we already discussed with the Abuja Disco, where we pay them a fee. We use the existing, if it's good enough, we use the existing infrastructure. So we don't have to do cabling on the ground. So very low upfront cost. The only cost is going to be the renewable assets. And so we pay Disco a fee, like an interconnected mini grid. And the other model is the usual solar and battery solution. If it's just a university or a hotel with multiple buildings, that can be done as well if they are interested. That's another model where we suggest them based on the usage, solar and battery, plus the dashboard and the nice platform. So they are able to generate more savings than if they just install without our platform. If they just install a solar and battery, they won't generate as much savings as they would have if it was into us. And finally, it's more towards Nigerian grid support. So if the grid is imbalanced anywhere, we can speak to the grid team, and we can install a farm anywhere and try to make sure the grid doesn't go unstable, and because of the instability, we're getting power cuts. So we are able to provide services to Disco without stress as well. I think that's it. Just one more slide I would like to wrap up. So we did a survey. I mean, at the end of the day, people have to be happy about it. You know, whoever is using it, they have to be happy. You know, it's not just our words. So this is we asked a few questions to people who have been using it, and people. We also did an outside survey about 200 people where we asked them, "We're doing this service. Would you?" And this is what the benefits are. What's your thought on this? Are you willing to pay for it? As a customer, are you willing to pay for it? So when we did a survey with the people who are using it, all of them said, 10 out of 10 people said they're happy with the service. All of them said. And all of them said they want to pay for it. Even though they are poor communities, they're willing to pay for it. And they said, there is a meter, I know how much I'm using, I can pay for it, we don't have any problem. All we need is a proper supply. That's what they were requesting the government to provide them. So when I went to speak to them, because I've been just from Manchester speaking to my local partner, but when I've been speaking to the people who have been utilizing the service, they have nothing but praises. So all they have to say is, God bless you. We are praying for you because you're providing such a service. The other houses are coming to us and saying, can we use, can we have it? Can you ask them if we can have it? You know, and all of them. So when we ask all of the other houses, the 300 house people, they want this and they're ready to pay for it. And they are willing to, even though they're ready to protect it as well, because this is inside their community. They're willing to protect the assets, and they're treating it as their own. And it's such a good thing to hear from them. So it's up to us to make it a reality for them. And there's obviously potential, and something which can take Nigeria to the next level, I would say, is providing reliable power. And with this, I would like to wrap up. Thank you, Delhi. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
So I think what needs to be said is that in terms of scale up and capacity, local energy market, it has its limitation. Jerry mentioned the fact that at the moment you have 1 megawatt, otherwise you need license and the rest. But actually, that is not just in Nigeria alone. It's across the world because it's pretty new. Policies that have been around for years needs to be changed, but actually we change policy by having test bed like what we have, we just deployed. And the plan is that, so we have contract with this school, everything we install with the school and the community is free from them, they didn't pay anything for that. So we have an agreement with them up to the next 2 years. We can take people down to visit to see what we install there. And the plan is to work with people within the parliament, to work with people with Nigerian energy regulators and so on to actually remove that barrier. The same thing is happening in the UK right now. That barrier has not been removed, but I understand it because it's pretty new. And we also want to make sure that everything works very well. I've described how this works with water. The water is different. Water doesn't shock people, and whereas electricity has its own side. So yeah, questions. Thanks for your.
We can take the online. We have, like I said, we have few online attendees if they would like to.
Okay, so anyone online, if you have a question, you can just start your question.
There's a mic somewhere. No. There's an echo. There's an echo.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah. Any question? Let's start from the floor. Okay.
Thank you very much for the presentation. Okay. I think it's the right way to go. Not far away in Nigeria. Most of it does not even come from the grid. It's available and it should be shared. You're trading electricity. Which regulator? So which type of license? Which type of license can you do this type of work?
Okay, so thank you for that question. I mean, as academic, that is why we won't go that route to start with, because that just shuts your mind down completely when you start thinking about, okay, the license, because as it is today, we are limited by, if we need to do anything like this, it's under that, because what we're doing is under 1 megawatt. That's why we're getting away. We don't need any license. However, we can demonstrate under no license. We can demonstrate, and I talked about digital twin. We can use that to explain what will happen if we have license, and then we can use the benefits and impacts of that to convince the regulators that, look, we need license. We need to we need to license something above 1 mega, maybe up to 100, whatever it may be. So that's the plan. And of course, there will be many questions that we need to be answered, that we'll be working with regulators, working with other people to answer such questions.
This is the final question.
Yes, yes. Well, first of its kind in Africa, there's one that is going on south of England right now by UK Partners for Services, which I also work with some other partners. They are looking at the same thing and trying to see how we can take it to market. So it's a pilot project. Yes.
We have one question online.
Oh.
We can't see it.
We can't see it yet. Yeah, we can. Yeah,
I had the pleasure of meeting you, sir. I remember I actually think it was the first time you talked about this kind of thing. I'm happy that today I met with them in Manchester University.
Yeah.
And you talked about coming to Nigeria, which was a very hard task. And thank God today that you'll be able to achieve.
Thank you.
Now, the question you asked that particular day, and I've asked the same question here now, which is how did you get these and the regulators in this country to actually buy this? And I remember you were talking to Daniel
Yeah.
who was part of the
electric.
Yes, Lagos State Electric Board.
Lagos.
And you were looking for a way to work with Lagos State government. Now, you have been in Nigeria for a while now. What effort have you been able to make? Or are the regulators having a listening ear to you? Because I do remember then it was a very difficult task. And you can see 2015 till now, which means you've actually worked. So what effort or are the regulators not listening to you?
So thanks very much, because I remember we came with this team to visit us. That's true. Madam Lula is now the big woman in the United Nations now. Yes. Okay. So I think, to be quite frank, at that time, what we were talking about was a bit theoretical. Let's be honest, peer-to-peer energy trading, even now, is still very new. So some of the things that I was talking about that time in terms of the local energy market was very, very theoretical. The other aspect, which is more of intelligent system connectivity and bringing smartness to energy, which was smart metering, was actually one of the things I was discussing with her. Yes, that's been around because I just finished a project at the time. I think, what I realize, what I can tell you about my approach now, as I get maybe older a little bit, is to know that, talk is cheap. Okay, and this is why this project is particularly useful. We are no longer talking. You can actually touch things and see things. So the local community, I can give you their phone number. The school, you can speak to the principal, whether it's working or it's helping them or not. Whereas at that time, it was more of, it is possible, let's do this or something. So in terms of how we engaging with the people, yes, I think we're doing that. For those who could not attend, we actually put in a video clip together about 5 minutes that shows the installation, shows everything, plus interviews from the community and people and the benefits that it's bringing to them at a small scale, and also talking about how it could be scaled. So we're doing all we can, but to be quite honest, I prefer where I am now or where we are now than where we were before, because now we can see things, it's practical, it's actually happening. Because I don't trust academics too much when it comes to business, because it's a lot of futuristic things that don't work. But this one you can see is working. So let's take this on.
Can we? I can say. Oh, sorry, because we have somebody online. So they will be leaving right now.
Okay, all right. What's the question?
Yes, it's online. So can you? Yeah, can you say?
Right.
All right.
Yeah.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. Godfrey Bermuda is my name, from the European Union delegation here in Abuja, and nice following your presentation. I wanted to find out about your smart metering. You deployed it in Kuje. I will believe that, internet coverage, it's nice there. So what happens? How is the functionality when you deploy it in remote communities, areas where you really don't have 2G, where you don't have 3G, 4G available? Are you still able to, communicate with those devices on your remote platform? Because I asked this question, we have some projects in Borno State, in areas where, because of the insurgents, all you get in some locations is just merely 2G. And because of that, you cannot configure these inverters, and you cannot track exactly what's happening at that end. So I wanted to find out how robust your own solution are to addressing this challenge. Over.
Thank you very much. I think if I could get anything, this was deployed in Kuje. Kuje is about an hour drive or more from the center of Abuja. It's actually in a remote area, by the way. And maybe you're right, they still have GSM working there and some connectivity there. The question is, what happened in the remote area where there is no electricity? I think yes, two or three answers to that. Number one is actually that the world is moving, and I believe the world is not going to wait for maybe areas like to start, because actually it's going to get there. I remember 2001, 2002, we only had network in Lagos and Abuja and the rest, and today we have it remotely. So that's first thing. I think the second thing is actually that what is good about technology is you have requirement gathering aspect, communication in particular. There are various types. There are types that don't need to be cellular, that don't need to, that can go into as much distance as you want within a particular area. Actually, the fact that it's community makes it great. So in Kuje, we have to connect directly to Manchester because this is a pilot project and they remotely control everything from Manchester. But when you start deploying in Nigeria, okay, you don't need to connect to anywhere. You can control everything within a local community. So maybe the communication you actually need is just communication among the community. All right, so you don't need communication to external world so much. So you have 50 buildings. What these 50 buildings want to do, they connect to a network. It could be Zigbee, it could be any other low RAM, low PAN, or any other technology chip technology for connectivity over a distance of 1 kilometer, even more than that. All right, and you don't need GSM, you can use another technology. Actually, the project that I worked that I think the gentleman was referring to was a project we did with Space Rail and Germany. We use power line. By power line technology, is using the same cable that power your system, is the same cable that communicates, so you don't even need any comms at all. That's the possibility as well.
Did that answer your question?
Yeah.
So yeah, you can deploy this anywhere in the world. It's just that you need to adapt it to fit that requirement. It's just one tiny component of it, which is the connectivity, and there are various connectivity you can use. Different types. So thank you.
So I saw a return on investment ROI of 7.5, and I also noticed in the school build 14.5 kilowatt and 35 kilowatt battery. What is the capital cost of that? So capital cost per meter.
So this, we have to install the private network. We have to lay on our own cables. We didn't use the existing connection of cabling. So in Naira, I'm not really sure, but it was about 60,000 pounds.
60,000.
Yeah.
For something.
Yes. Yeah. But this is because it's a pilot project. There's more cost than what we could, and we individually source these components, importing. So just one. So it's not a bulk purchase. So
that's included shipping.
Yes, everything included. It was 60,000 pounds.
Now the batteries used are they lithium batteries?
Yes, lithium-ion batteries, only lead acid lithium-ion battery, and it was the number one manufacturer, BYD. They're competing with Tesla. So BYD battery, we're using that.
What is the proposed tariff for selling?
So for setup, because there are various aspects to it, right? So taking the grid price into account. So in Abuja, I think the grid price, I don't remember in Naira,
59.
So it's a little bit less than that. I would say 45, that because our platform makes that price. So it's not very low, but it's about 40 to 45, but less than 50. You get one point. So in that ballpark.
So there is no definite grid tariff price for now.
It depends on the grid price, because we want to know, because I think in different places there are different grid prices.
Yeah.
So we take that into account. Cheaper, few pence cheaper than when I say cheaper, we get a lower price from the grid. So if the grid is 14 pence, we can sell it for you can get that solar for 10 pence.
So I think one thing that the company actually is doing in Manchester, apart from this platform, is they are involved, which are part of as well, a different project community from Energy IQ, which we do with Canada. It's called smart contract using artificial intelligence. So they actually have a system that promised 30%, that's even in the and without any serious intervention appear to be energy trading. It's just using artificial intelligence to understand the behavior of people, understand the grid power and whatever you have as asset, and it gives 30% discount anyway on the grid. I think bringing that to Nigeria, it can only perform at that level or even better, at that rate or better, because of the, and I'm talking about the asset itself. This is agnostic to an asset. It doesn't matter whether the battery is for nobody cares. The PV is agnostic to all these things. It's an intelligent system that goes into everything and make them smart, and you harness value from each people, and then you reduce cost, free.
So what you're basically saying is anybody can build, and then all they need to do is contact you for
absolutely. Yes. So I think
that
is the message.
The sharing from the microphone.
Exactly. So that is the message. So for this order, so like the Energy IQ project, for example, that is what government paid for. Go to SMEs, get them to think about reducing energy by coming through two things: the cost and carbon footprint. That's what they're using intelligent system to do that. So it doesn't matter what they've installed themselves or what you want to add in terms of it. For example, if you don't have battery and you want to add batteries or something like that, but you can use their answer. So this system is just to make it better.
Okay, I think that's well understood. What the system where you want to bring it into a more urban situation. Yes. I see that Kuji's system is good.
Yes.
Okay, first of all, for that, how do you cap the amount of energy each house is using?
Okay, so you see, one thing, remember, I took time to kind of explain what smartness is about at the beginning. So anything that can answer all the questions about all this, because people ask me one of that questions. It's very simple. So we can cap that because the system, the meter, there's a meter there, okay, it senses what we are giving and we know the maximum that we can give, we know when to give or when not to. The intelligence does all that.
It's incorporated, yes, so that's
It's all within the box.
The box, yes, the box, yes.
Okay. The box has all this intelligence. Okay. And you can add what is not already there. You can add that as well.
Any preference you have?
Any what we can modify it to your taste.
Okay, so if you bring it to an urban situation where there are already power lines and all that, how does somebody go about, like, I want to sell to you now, to my neighbor? That's how you started. We selling to our neighbors. How do I sell to my neighbor without having to send wires into his house?
Okay, so it's just like saying, how do you sell? So I have a big book, okay, and I want to sell it on Amazon. Okay, how do I sell this book to somebody down the road without creating a road? All right, so you don't need all that. It's none of, because there are two things that are happening here, and this is what makes it unique, because we are combining, is a marriage between telecommunication and energy infrastructure. So you have the infrastructure, it's a physical asset, it's a wire that's hardwired. The decision is not made at that point. The decision is made at the intelligence logical level of the comm systems. So it's not, so how it gets to you, for example, it might not even be my energy that comes to you. So it's not necessarily my solar panel that comes to you. And to be quite honest, it shouldn't bother you. What is important is to have the energy. Okay, let me explain how that works. So the three of us, we have solar panel, 3 kW, 3 kilowatt, and so on. The system does not care about who owns it at the top level. We just see what is going to VAT. And then when you are buying at the other end, it's saying, okay, we have 9 in the market at the moment. Now, it can be that I can say at my price, I want to sell it at 5 naira, he may want to sell it 450 and so on. And of course, that then determines the demand and supply. This person at the other end, they want to say, well, I buy at 4.5 or something like that. Okay, so there's a matching algorithm that goes on, and to say, okay, this is you are buying from the exact PV that is generated for him, you understand, or her, it may be another, but you get electricity at that price. But everybody is fully to the center to that virtual grid, the community grid. Everybody's you kind of bringing energy to them. So the connection is not a problem because it just happened the way it usually happens.
Also, I said about preference. So you can, before we set the platform, you can determine, do I want the cheapest energy? Do I want the maximum income? Or do I want the greenest possible energy? And then based on that, every customer can set their own preference. So based on that, the algorithm will run and give you what you prefer.
Yeah, just like Amazon today. So, Uber, it runs and it's talking about distance, maybe, or the type of car, or because I have bags and I want it to have boots or whatever. So it's preference, and that's select. You select who you want. But the difference between this and Uber is that everything is done, is pre-selected. So you say, I want this, I just go to sleep and carry on doing that for the next forever until you change the parameters again. Yes, sir. You said?
I said we'll speak more.
Okay.
Yes, thank you very much. I think the presentation was excellent. I came in late, but I'm highly excited that those in diaspora like you have come home to bring in this type of technology to us. I am with the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria. In fact, I'm the chairman of the Infrastructure Committee of MAN, as well as the chairman of the Manufacturers Power Development Company Limited, which is a 100% subsidiary of MAN. Today, our biggest challenge as manufacturers is the issue of power. In other clients, manufacturing costs, power is just about maybe 10% or less. In ours, it's about 45%, sometimes up to 50%. So it's a big challenge for us. And when I had this, I'm very excited. After this session, I'm still with you for this. I looked at the from you. So I want to ask the question. Kuche case, for example, how long did it take you to deploy it? And what were the regulatory permits that you needed? I know that the NEC is less than 1 megawatt, therefore you need a license. Yes. So that was one question. Second question, roughly how much was that? Then the third question is, I believe the whole essence of this maybe to market what you are doing and commercialize it. As you are aware, power today, especially up north, is a big challenge. It's been a much bigger challenge in the northeast, where incidentally I come from, I come from the side. And today there is virtually no power. While on the other hand, if you look at the volume of the sun in that area, the irrigation is so much that solar is fantastic. Yeah. So I see this as an excellent opportunity to assist my people. I also, of course, schooled up north in APU, and the biggest challenge for us at one time is also the issue of electricity. So this is something which is excellent. And I know the federal government did do something about energizing schools or something. Yes. Did you look at it and
there's somebody behind you, he's the expert. He deployed most of them. Okay,
so this is why I'm thinking, how did you, what was their perception? Because there is need in this type of intervention is fantastic. But knowing the behavior of Nigerian civil servants and the government generally, especially with their policy somersaults, especially with the fact that there is no coordination in different aspects. One arm of the government will say something, then the other arm will say something that will contradict that one. What were your challenges? And I want to say, if there are challenges, please bear with them and see how we can solve them.
I'll answer the first question, and then I think that we can take over. So, how long it took to install the whole infrastructure and make sure it's running? So, I would say 3 months from designing. Design is not included. Design, I would say, took around 1 month or more to design the whole platform. That was all because we have to come up with a model that works in the current setup. So, but once the design was set up, 3 months again, logistic time come here and install. Testing. So I would say in 3 months' time, it was up and running. And from then on, it was from the beginning of this year, this January, March was our installation period. And from then,
plus COVID issue.
Yeah, because of even we had COVID. Yeah, because of we had COVID delays, logistic delays. So again, that's why some parts we didn't get in on time. Again, yeah, it's because of that and the trialing and everything. 3 months, I would say that was project-wise 3 months. It's going to be even further, at least by half. If we know what we're doing, because now we know what we're doing, tried it, tested it, which component we need, know that exactly how it's going to work. So it's going to be bringing down here less than half time. Yeah.
Thanks, sir. I think the question about maybe engaging with governments. I just came back from Abuja last night. I was there for like 10 more days, so I've met a number of people. Maybe myself too, I'm wiser now. I'm much wiser now than many years ago. Maybe when I met the other guys, I was very academic. I wear a lot of academic hats. Everything has to be done like that. But now I kind of I've learned, I would say, to understand that in the end, people have interests, okay, and but you need to bring something on the table. So I know what I would tell an academic now, and I go, wow, and I will tell you, sir, basically, what does that mean? Because what I'm saying is very theoretical, but somebody else will understand. And this is why I'm very, very excited about this particular project and the other project that I showed at the beginning. That I have a living lab in my university now, using the whole campus. Everything is connected. All the students, house of residence, the electric cars, the combined heat pump, name it. All of the stuff are all connected on the platform, and we are playing with them. And we work with the best brain in the world, Siemens, to do this. So having all that gives confidence that, okay, if you want it at local level at Nigeria, come and see it. If you want to, I was saying, speaking to somebody very high up in government, not this week, last Friday or Thursday. Okay, I was speaking with him, and he just, the question he will ask me in the past that I will be trying to defend, I didn't have to defend. I just said, do you have 5 minutes? Say, yes, okay, look at that slide. That's what is happening there. This is the implication, this is the cost, the reduction, and so on. And we didn't need to talk too much. So I think I have to give them the credit that yes, it might be difficult and somersaults that you mentioned and so on. But I think when people see real things that work, I think the reception has been much more positive. I would say. Because it's a big problem. You know, energy is a massive problem.
So, how do you design this? I mean, if you have a new build estate, can you work with the developers to design specific for that estate? And then secondly, what's the, I mean, you said this is based out of Manchester, so you can see it on there. How do you plan to transfer technology? We would like for this to actually be set up in Nigeria as opposed to Manchester. What's the plan for that?
So the second question, that's why we want to work with and partner with the Nigerian local company here. So that's what we're aiming for, is the knowledge transfer between them. They will be given the knowledge on how to operate it, or how this is rolled. So operating the partner via, and we have to do the same process because he's going to be the one who's operating it from the ground. So yeah, using that collaboration, that's what we want to do. Obviously, scaling up to such a massive extent, I would like to be here and be in charge of that. So that's the second question. Yeah.
So I think in terms of design, like every other thing, what we requirements and so on. What works in Abuja, I'm very sure we know what we do in Abuja, another part of our project. We're very fortunate actually. The picture of the school, this school is very big. We have about 800 students, secondary school. So one advantage that I think we have is just the hall that we use is just next to the gates. We have a massive playground, and the gate is directly next to the community. Also, about 200-300 houses, the mosque, the community shops, and everything all there. So very easy, but it might not be the same for. So the design we have to be specific to location, specific to maybe the estate. It's about estate. And like you were saying earlier on about how for factories, for example, I think we can look even beyond having more energy generated for the factory, but actually we can think about the green aspect in net zero and all those things, but we can also look at CSR of those manufacturing firms. So your corporate social responsibility could be, you have this firm, you have all these things installed, but actually because we use the maximum capacity all the time, how can you help people around you? So there are various things that you can do with the same thing. You can make money from it. Actually, people are using demand side response. You sell to the grid as well, by the way, and make this a revenue. So to this school, if we turn this to business, the school can be making more money from the community because they own more PVs, they have higher capacity of batteries and so on. So they own, they can control what is going on, and they sell to and make money. And maybe if you start to also influence them as well, we are in this community together because we are here, you are happy. So protect us, kind of, make sure that nobody comes and attack our kids. It could be any way that you want it, and you can tweak that within the plan. Yes.
So I want to do a few questions, right? Talking about urban area. Because that's where we are. And sometimes it's work best in those communities, like in these states. But we realize that in the urban area, the volume of energy required per square meter is much more than the rural environments. But you most likely do not have the luxury of space or of rooftop, expanse that is required to generate that energy. So in that case, you have a kind of mix and match. Because you know that in an estate, the energy demand is usually concentrated around the evening time or early hours in the morning that are not irradiation hours. So that means that you're looking at a stack of batteries which shoots up your capex, and you might necessarily need to begin to think about mixing the sources. Does this system allow for a mix of, say, the grid and the remaining?
So actually, with the school, there's generator, this local generator, this diesel generator of the school, so can be part of the platform. Hydrogen, I mentioned that earlier. Anything, can host, because at the end of, like I said earlier on, at the end of the day, what the platform is interested in, there is the virtue. So we see everything as virtual. So you have hydrogen, you have that, you have that. We sum everything together to know the capacity that is available for consumption, and that is what it trades. Except there's a preference that says, well, I only want green, and then it's going to say, well, there are only 30 green available at this moment, and it will sell 30. Not necessarily saying 30 that is green, but it's selling 30 at that time. So it's a virtue, it's an intelligent, logical way of doing it, rather than being specific. So talking about the roof and the batteries, actually in Kuje, all the houses, all of them, there's no single one that you could put PV on the roof. So what we did, very smart, we created a car park, like a shed for them. We built a shed and we put it on top of that shed. Not some of them, it's almost impossible to put meters in their houses. So what we did, we created an energy center. All the meters for the 10 houses, they're actually inside one building. And all the assets, we put them inside one building and lock them up. Okay, so actually you can, because I think the way we are looking at it is that we're looking at it as electricity. We are not really talking too much about the wiring and the cabling. We are talking about intelligence. And intelligence at logical level, you can be in the UK, you can be in Nigeria on your laptop, and that laptop is in America, because logically it's been wired to behave as if it's in America. Does that make sense? So, but when you are cabling, physically, it has to be physical. But when you look at it logically, we can do so many things. It's very, very flexible.
Okay, the thing is, I was just speaking to Yannicka. We have a snack session as well. So is there something that we can talk during the drinks? Yeah? Okay. Yes, or do you have an important question that you want to say?
Yes.
Thank you very much. Incidentally, this was my supervisor, but still project. He worked directly with that company. And actually on the phase 2 of it.
Okay. Is that the school one?
Yeah, school one.
Okay. So because I remember you showed me very interesting a few years ago. Kids, they go around reading under street lights. Was that in the local or something?
He actually did the survey right around the city. Okay. And the consultant to the federal government.
Okay.
And this was so I think what Oda was asking, if I understand this whole setup here, I understand what TFIP is doing in Nigeria. You see, most of the success programs I've seen that I've been part of was organized by TFIP. Now, how TFIP has been able to make you support us and give a very valuable project like this, I think that's what actually produced my own boss, which is Madam Donovan. And I think if you can actually work around supporting manufacturers in Nigeria, with respect to what we have been experienced with, you do a survey of the clusters, business clusters around, and see how best you can provide solution as to peer-to-peer energy sales and who has access to sell to others. The only thing is that if EFID or World Bank, if you can actually go through a proposal to help manufacturers as you already have.
Thank you. I think that's worked very well with what you mentioned. I know and it's running immediately with what Daniela did. It's with you guys 10 years ago. Thank you. Thanks for that.
All right.
Can I just add something? It just goes to, you didn't mention the consumer.
Yes,
and this is the kind of thing we're talking about. Some of our customers, some of our members have excess power all the time, and they will sell to the community. And if you talk about CSR,
yes,
this to all coming together if the right thing is done. So it would be good actually if we could work together.
Okay, thank you.
I appreciate it.
That's the way. That's why we're here. Thank you very much. Thanks everyone.
I just didn't mention about EEN. Sorry when I was starting the presentation. So thank you, EEN, for providing the platform and to provide the platform to speak.
Thank you so much. And thank everybody for coming, because actually we were kind of nervous that this is Lagos, everybody was to go home.
Yeah.
I
love that you're all interested.
So thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we still have
enough
time
to
talk.
So please, we have some refreshments, please.
Oh.
Thank you.